Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia, aka Sister Philly, just in case this is your first time here. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about makeup that I am hoping for in 2019. So I don't have a whole lot of stuff to talk about today. In my mind, I think this video will actually be pretty short, but there's a few products that I'm hoping that some makeup brands will come out with this year, so we're just going to talk about that. So I'm trying to keep my intros a little shorter, so let me know if that is your preference. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. All right, I have a couple of products that I'm hoping Fenty Beauty comes out with this year. And the first one is, well, I guess, I don't know if I want to consider this one or two separate products, but I'm hoping that Fenty comes out with blushes and bronzers. And the reason I say maybe one or two products, I would love to see like a blush and bronzer duo. So for instance, how they have their highlighter palettes, if they just had like one blush and then a complementary bronzer, I would absolutely love that. Or if they came out with something like this but gave us two different blush colors in one palette, I would like that too. I think that blushes are pretty much a given for Fenty. Maybe not necessarily their next launch, but I do feel like at some point they're going to come out with blushes. I think outside of blushes and bronzers, I think the only thing they really haven't come out with yet is brow pencils, I believe, and maybe false lashes. I don't wear false lashes, but maybe that's something else that they would come out with in the future. But I feel like blushes may be like the next thing. I only have maybe like 5 blushes, and out of those I think I only used like 2 of them, so I don't have a whole lot. But I do really like blush because I feel like it's one of those products where if you're wearing like minimal makeup or if you're wearing a full face, when you throw on some blush, it kind of like just wakes up your whole look. And knowing Fenty, they'll probably come out with a slew of colors for people to choose from. Now, I'm not too sure about, whether or not they're thinking about bronzers, but if they were to come out with bronzers, I would be very interested to see like how they cater to undertones, because with their complexion products, I think that they do a really good job of trying to diversify the undertones in like a bunch of different complexion ranges. So if you're familiar with my videos, you have heard me say a million times that I need things that run cool tone. So I feel like everything in my complexion range, it tends to cater to people that have like yellow or warm undertones. And in general, bronzers tend to do that. They tend to run like kind of golden because they're meant to give your face like some warmth. But I need bronzers that gives your face like more of like a reddish warmth. So I'm hoping if they do come out with bronzers that they'll come out with a nice range and something that has more of like a reddish or even like a deep pink tone to it, as opposed to something that's like yellow or golden. So again, just in case Fenty ever sees this video, I would love to see a blush and bronzer duo. That would be awesome. If not, then something like this with 2 different blush colors, but different ones for us to choose from. Now, Fenty already has a couple of eyeshadow palettes. I didn't get either one of them. The first one was like all shimmers or all glitters or something, and I guess it was supposed to be like a complementary palette to use with something else that had mattes in it. The second one, I can't remember if that was all mattes or if it was a mix of mattes and shimmers. What I do remember about the second one was I thought it was just like very bland for it to be something from Fenty Beauty. There's certainly nothing wrong with having a palette that's more of like muted in a way. Like I actually like those types of colors, but I guess because it was Fenty Beauty, like I was expecting like more of a pop or something like that. So I would love to see them come out with another eyeshadow palette in the spring and summer, and something that's just a lot more colorful and a lot more vibrant. Now, honestly, I can't really tell you for sure if I would buy it because their palettes cost $59, but I feel like if they came out with something that just had a bit more color, like a lot more life to it, I feel like I would really consider it, especially if it's going to be a mix of mattes and shimmers. So let me know what y'all think about that. Would y'all like to see like a Fenty palette that had just like think of like a like a festival tone palette. You know how every year, like festival time, everybody comes out with like colorful palettes. Would you like to see something like that from Fenty? And did you feel the same way about the Moroccan palette? Did you think that it was just something that wasn't, like something that you just weren't expecting from Fenty? Let me know in the comments. And the last thing from Fenty, I have oily skin and I love their foundation. It's one of my favorites. I haven't tried the concealer yet, but I do really like this foundation. A lot of people can't wear this foundation because it seems to be not suitable for dry skin. So even though this one works for me, I think it would be really great if Fenty came out with another finish to their foundation. So this one has a soft matte finish, so maybe another foundation line that has like more of a natural or maybe even like a dewy finish for people with drier skin. So when you think about this one right here, actually, Maybelline Fit Me, they have a matte and poreless line, but they also have a dewy and smooth line. I think it would be nice if Fenty did something like that so that they could cater to everybody's skin type, because from what I've been hearing, this foundation is just, the Fenty one, is just way too matte for a lot of people with dry skin. So those are the things that I'm hoping for from Fenty Beauty. I'm really interested to know what y'all would be hoping for. I do have some other brands that I want to talk about, but in particular Fenty, because I feel like when we think about new makeup launches, Fenty is always one of the first brands that we come up with because they're always coming out with something new. But moving on to some other brands, remember last year for April Fool's, Tarte teased us with a palette that does not exist. So this is a picture of it right here. I believe it was called Icy Betch, I believe, but I'm going to put a picture of it right here. Now, for quite some time in 2018, I was actually tired of seeing blue eyeshadow everywhere. I just felt like everybody was coming out with these palettes that always had like a blue, like a pop of blue in it. And every time you saw pictures of eye palettes, or not eye palettes, pictures of eye looks, people doing videos on YouTube with new palettes coming out, it just seemed like everybody was using blue. But when I saw this palette, I loved it. And I was very upset that it wasn't like a real product. A lot of people were. And this palette got so much attention that I would not be surprised if Tarte actually came out with this palette for sale this year. Now, when everybody noticed how much attention that this palette was getting, there were a couple of brands that came out with dupes for this palette. I haven't tried any of them, and I've never tried a Tarte eyeshadow palette before too. I do have one that I just got from BoxyCharm that I haven't tried yet, but I've never, I don't know anything about their formula or anything like that. But I do feel like if this palette actually existed, I would probably buy it. Like, I love blue. Even though I went through that phase of like being sick and tired of blue eyeshadow, blue is actually one of my favorite colors when it comes to eyeshadow. So I feel like I would definitely buy that if it came out this year. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it does come out with this year because it got so much attention last year. Now, with keeping this palette in mind, another thing that I would love to see is a similar palette or a similar color scheme from Urban Decay. I have the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. It's my first and only naked palette from that brand, and I love the palette so much that I wanted to explore other naked palettes. Now, I couldn't find one that I really wanted. I just felt like all the rest of them, they didn't catch my eye like the Naked Cherry palette did. Now, if Urban Decay came out with a naked palette that had more of like a bluish, greenish, silverish, like cool tone vibe to it, I feel like I would really love that. I don't think it's necessarily something that Urban Decay, like there's nothing to make me think that Urban Decay is going to do that. I'm just saying the color scheme from that Tarte palette, I feel like if I could get that color scheme with Urban Decay formula, I would love it. So let me know what y'all think about that, or can you think of any like other color schemes that you would want to see from Urban Decay? All right, next let's talk about something from Too Faced. The Too Faced Born This Way foundation is one of my favorites. It's my everyday foundation. And they're Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. I keep wanting to call this the Super Coverage Concealer, but this is my everyday. I wear this concealer every single time I do my makeup. And I also have a couple of the original Born This Way concealers. I never use these because I just don't like the fact that I have to mix them together. But my point is, the Too Faced Born This Way line I think is really good. Now, they do have some powders that I have never tried before, but these three products are really, really good. I typically don't wear primer underneath my foundation, but I think it would be really cool if Too Faced came out with a Born This Way primer. Now, they do have a primer in their, is it called the Just Peachy line? I think it's a primer that gives you like a peachy look. Let me look it up before I say something that's not correct. Hold on one second. Okay, I forgot about the hangover primer that a lot of people love, but I was thinking about the, what is this called again? The Primed and Peachy Cooling Matte Primer. That's the one I was thinking about. That particular primer, it's supposed to have a matte finish, and it has like a peach scent to it, which to each his own. I just would not want a primer that has like a peachy scent to it. I think if they made a primer that went with the Born This Way line, I would imagine that it would be something totally unscented. And a lot of these products, they have ingredients in them that cater to skin care issues like coconut water, hyaluronic acid, things like that. So I would imagine a Born This Way primer would have some of the same stuff in it. And even though I don't wear foundation primer, I think I would actually try that primer out just to see if it's maybe something that I would want to wear on days where I'm not wearing makeup. And I think in general, a lot of people would at least try a Born This Way primer out. I just feel like so many people love the makeup in this line that they would love a primer too. Okay, I can hear my voice getting congested, so I apologize if you can pick up on that, but we only have one more product to talk about before we finish out the video. The Physicians Formula Butter Bronzers. Now, I thought that they only had 4 shades to this bronzer. Apparently, they just came out, or I should say recently, they came out with 2 more deeper shades. Now, the issue with, like before they added the 2 shades to this, to these bronzers, the 4 shades that they came out with were like super, super light. Like even my skin tone, I didn't have a bronzer that I could use. The 2 deeper shades that they came out with, they're called Bronze Brazilian Glow and Endless Summer. Now, Endless Summer, I might be able to make that work with my skin tone, but when I saw that they came out with these 2 bronzers, I did look at a couple of videos on them, and I feel like in the videos that I saw, they looked lighter than they do in these pictures that I'm looking at online right now. But you know, when you're looking at things online and when you're looking at YouTube videos, sometimes you can't tell like the real color of a product. But I feel like, okay, you did add 2 more shades. I feel like they're still not deep enough. Like, you should have added like way more shades than that. So with that being said, my last product that I'm hoping for this year is for them to just continue to extend this line of bronzers, because the people who can wear this bronzer, they just rave about it so much. So I personally would like to try it out. I may try this bronzer out, and if I had known that they had added more shades, I would have looked for this the last time I was in the store, because looking at Endless Summer, it may not be as deep as, this is usually what I wear for a bronzer. This is Maybelline Fit Me. It may not be quite as deep as this. You can see the product over here, but I feel like I may be able to get away with that. But I hope that they do continue to extend this line in 2019. I do have a Physicians Formula Butter Highlighter that I love. So if their bronzer is the same like butter consistency as the highlighter, I would definitely love it. So I hope that they you know, just continue to make deeper shades in that. So those are all of the products that I am hoping for in 2019. I'm really interested to see if you guys have any ideas, any products that you want any brands to come out with this year. If you have any input, please let me know in the comments. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by giving me a thumbs up. So usually when I'm doing like a discussion type video like what I'm doing today, I usually film a tutorial first on the look that I'm wearing, and then I'll film the discussion video. I actually did not film this entire look today. I'm actually testing out a foundation. So my point is, I hope that you like my makeup today, but if you're interested in a tutorial on this eye look, please let me know and I can recreate this for y'all. So again, I hope that y'all enjoyed the video, and I really hope that I will see y'all back for my next one. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.